This video is powered by BetUS. Use promo code YouTube150 to get your 150% sign-up bonus. Start playing today with an exclusive offer. Shout out to BetUS for being the proud sponsor of Roundtable Sports.
Hey guys, I'm Jake Ellenbogen, of course, the Rams representative of the NFC West Roundtable. This video, I'm going to be talking about kind of my reactions from the 2024 season for the LA Rams. But before I dive into that, just want to let you guys know that today's video is brought to you by BetUS. You can get a 150% bonus match and 125% bonus match on your next two deposits using the promo code YouTube150. As always, be sure to bet responsibly. Okay, guys, so look, my record prediction, I had 13-4 coming into the season. They finished 10-7 after sitting their starters the last game of the year. I don't think 13-4 was out of the question, and I really do believe a lot of the issues the Rams had were due to injury. They started off the season without, their top corner in Darius Williams. Most of their offensive linemen went down in the Lions game week 1, as well as Puka Nacua missing 6 games. Cooper Kupp gets hurt the following week, and he misses a bunch of games. And so I just think it was hard. The continuity wasn't entirely there. You only had 5 games where you had a fully healthy offensive line. But this really goes to show you why any given season, if the Rams are somewhat healthy and they get their starting quarterback upright, they can be a problem. I do believe they finished the season because of Sean McVay and company. They finished the season as one of the best 4 teams. I do believe that they should have gone to the Super Bowl. They were 14 yards away from beating the Eagles, in which I think a lot of us agree was technically the NFC title game. Not to take anything away from the Commanders, but they were very banged up, and I just don't think that matchup against the Rams would have been any different than what we saw against the Philadelphia Eagles. So, it sucks to see it go. I think the one thing we got to learn and understand from this season is that the Rams haven't had one of the best rosters the last 2 years. Okay, they've had one of the best, I guess, if you're talking top 10. But as far as an elite roster, the Rams haven't had an elite roster since 2021 when they won the Super Bowl, and they had an elite roster in 2018. They did not have one in 2020. They arguably had one in 2017. So what am I getting at here? The Rams can win the Super Bowl with a good roster. But what it does, and what we should learn from, is that it makes it very tough. The margin for error is much slimmer when you're dealing with a not elite roster, right? And the Rams had their concerns. The Bills game, giving up 42 points to the Bills, the defense was a concern. But guess what? After that, you throw Ahkello Witherspoon into the secondary, and all of a sudden, that defense really picked up. And you saw it, not really allowing much of anything up until the final game of the season, the divisional round game they lost to the Eagles. I think if you take anything away from this team, just know they'll be back next year. That's not me hoping. That's me believing for sure. They're going to be a better roster. They have almost $50 million in cap space. They have the opportunity to get up into the 60s with some restructures and, pay cuts and all of that. So we'll see how that goes. I think the really surprising thing about this year was the emergence of this defense. I always felt like this defense would get better and better over the course of the year, but I felt like their ceiling was maybe top 10, maybe top 12. The way they were playing at the end of the year, that was the toughest defense, the hottest defense in the league. They still gave up 286 yards on the ground to Saquon Barkley. That still is a concern, but you can't take anything away from what this defense did this year. They were outstanding down the stretch. The pressure, no Aaron Donald, and they did not bat an eye. Okay, Jared Verse became one of the best pass rushers overnight, it seemed like. Braden Fisk looked absolutely stellar. And you had guys like second-year guys, third-year guys like a Quentin Lake really take up a bigger role, being a captain. You had Kobe Turner really step up. You had even, guys like Christian Roseboom really step up. But I think the biggest surprise for me was the emergence of guys like Omar Speights and Jalen McCullough. And I always believed in Omar Speights. I thought he should have started from day one, but it's different because you get kind of lost in the sauce a little bit. You don't see your team play for 8 to 9 months. You get preseason. That's the first action you've seen since the playoff loss. And you're thinking, man, this guy looks awesome. And then PFF rates him as the number one linebacker, around the league in preseason. And you're like, he might be something. There's a difference between seeing a guy do well in the preseason and seeing him do well in the regular season. And while Omar Speights is not a perfect player, he's already really good at a very young age with very limited experience. And the same could be said about Jalen McCullough, who had 4 interceptions. The same could be said about a Cameron Kinchins, who is the youngest player they drafted in this class. And he's a guy that at the beginning of the year looked lost, and at the end of the year, he looked awesome. So, look, I think that the Rams are in a great spot. I think the one thing that needs to be figured out, we have to address the elephant in the room. It's the quarterback position. Matthew Stafford proved he went out there in blizzard weather against the Eagles, left it all on the field on that final drive. If Bo Limmer doesn't get completely schooled by Jalen Carter, if they double team him, if Carter slips, whatever, that gives Stafford just that extra time, I think the Rams are going to the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, and I have no doubt about it. They were 14 yards away. But be that as it may, Stafford was incredible. When his best was required, that's when his best shined. And you saw that. He completely outplayed Jalen Hurts on that stage. He completely outplayed Sam Darnold. You can say what you will about the season stats. I'll take the guy when, his best is required, he shows up. There's a reason why there's only one quarterback in the NFC, starting quarterback in the NFC, that has gone to the Super Bowl and won it currently, and that is Matthew Stafford. So,
huge shout out to BetUS for sponsoring today's show. If you guys go to BetUS, you guys can use a 150% bonus on your first deposit to get a 150% bonus, 125% on your next two. That's up to $2,000. The Super Bowl is here. Chiefs, Eagles, and the early odds is in favor of the Kansas City Chiefs with 1-point favorites with the money line at -127, and the over-under is at 49. If you want to check out BetUS, you can already bet on the Super Bowl. They have a lot of fun prop bets. You can even bet on the coin toss if you wanted to. Are the Chiefs going to win the coin toss, or are the Eagles going to win the coin toss? And if you stay tuned to BetUS, they always come out with the best Super Bowl prop bets on the entire planet. So definitely go check out BetUS at betus.com.pa and using the promo code YouTube150 when you sign up today.
With that said, they need to start making preparations for the future. What does that mean? I don't know. We're going to find out. I don't believe for a second Stafford's going to retire. I do believe Stafford might be on his last year, maybe 2 more years. 3 years seems unlikely. But if you look at the way he's played, if you take away the injuries he's had over the course of his career, he looks like a guy that could play for another 5 years the way he's able to sling it. The throws he's able to make, guys that are coming in the league, guys that have been here for 3 or 4 years, still can't make. So that's the thing, is if you keep Stafford upright, he can stick around for a long time. There's no reason he couldn't play as long as Tom Brady did. I'm not saying he wants to, right? But there's no reason why he wouldn't be able to if they keep him upright. That's an easier said than done task, but still. So I look at this Rams team. Yeah, they don't have a second-round pick, but obviously you'd rather have Braden Fisk than that, right? They don't have a second-round pick, but I think they're in a really good position. They have the majority of the offense, taken care of. Offensive line, looks good right now. They can definitely do some things. Obviously, their left tackle is not under contract this upcoming year, so they have to figure out something with Alaric Jackson or figure out something if he leaves. At tight end, they have some money there. I would add another guy. I would add another pass catcher. You need to figure out things with Cooper Kupp, but they're already talking about a potential contract extension with Kyron Williams, which I agree. They need somebody behind Stafford, sure, for the future. But then you look at the defense, and it's like all these guys are under contract. I mean, just look, right? I think there's still some guys they need to bring back. Bobby Brown, definitely in the interior. Akello Witherspoon at corner. Michael Hoyt, if they can. Another edge defender. And Christian Roseboom, if they can get him for a good deal. But I think the Rams have a very limited number of needs, they have a lot of solidified pieces, and they have a lot of really, really good players that might not be superstars and might just, not catch people's eyes. But when you watch all 17 games or 18 games or 19 games in a season, you can see these guys can really step up. Guys like, Quentin Lake, Cam Curl, Kobe Durant. They might not be household superstar names, but the jobs they do, it's important. Same thing goes for Michael Hoyt and Bobby Brown. So with that said, I feel really good about this team, where it's at. Now, you could be a great team and deal with injuries. And I think that's the frustrating part. If I have any sort of pessimism here, the pessimistic attitude would be, look, you just got 19 games or 18 games with Matthew Stafford fully healthy. Okay, he was banged up the last 3 games of the year, and make no mistake about it, but he didn't miss a game. That is not a guarantee going into next season. So that, to me, is a area of pessimism. But the rest there, you have the coaching staff. In all likelihood, you're going to keep your offensive coordinator, your defensive coordinator, most of your key coaches. That's good. Sean McVay obviously isn't going anywhere. So there are some really good pieces there. You have enough draft capital to do some damage. You've had the best draft the last 2 years in a row in the league, arguably. A lot of people would say that. And then you have money where you could play around, and maybe you trade for somebody. Maybe you go out and you get a Chris Olave or a Garrett Wilson and bolster that pass attack. Maybe you draft one of these tight ends in a very a tight end heavy draft, right? There are different things that you can do here. And so I do expect the Rams to be in a good position to run it back next season. And just keep this in mind. In the Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford tandem era, the Rams have arguably outplayed all 7 opponents that they have faced in those 7 games. They're 5-2 in those games. I feel very good about the future and getting all these guys their playoff experience. If you remember one thing, just remember Jared Verse, how similar the picture of him standing there looking up at the scoreboard at Lincoln Financial, and just remember how similar that energy was with Aaron Donald, and how Jared Verse said, I don't want to look at these guys in the face, and I want to see nothing but joy, right? That is the thing. I think they'll be back. Will they win the Super Bowl? Who knows? A lot of things left to come. They still have a lot of things they got to take care of, and they're going to have some really tough decisions and tough discussions, including guys like, Cooper Kupp, maybe a Rob Havenstein, maybe a Tyler Higbee. But the Rams, since 2017, have been a consistent juggernaut in staying in the picture, playoffs or not, just being a tough team you don't want to face, unless it is they get rug pulled from the injury gods and you have 2022. But do not count this team out. They were 14 yards away, and the Eagles are a much more well-rounded team that has way more depth. And a lot of people said that was going to be a David versus Goliath matchup, and the Rams proved at the end that was not the case. They were up for the challenge. They fell short. They did it in weather they hadn't seen. I give this team a lot of credit. Was it a successful season? I would say it was. Everything they went through with the fires, I definitely don't think that you could hold this against them. So with that said, I feel good about the future. We'll see what they do this offseason. You can, of course, follow that along on this channel as well as my channel on YouTube, Jake Ellenbogen. And I'll see you guys next time. Be sure to check out today's sponsor, BetUS. Again, the code is YouTube150, 150% bonus match on your first deposit, and 125% on your following 2 deposits. You guys take care. See you soon.
This video is powered by BetUS. Use promo code YouTube150 to get your 150% sign-up bonus. Start playing today with an exclusive offer. Shout out to BetUS for being the proud sponsor of Roundtable Sports.